I have to go through like this. I can't get this to work through the headset, the speakers. I mean, the microphone works, but
yeah, you sound fine.
Yeah. Okay. It's a little weird. The dog has discovered a problem outside the house. I suspect it is a squirrel. Look, I appreciate your need to kill. I'm with you.
Let's see here. Make sure everything's broken online. Why is it saying... Why is this... There. That was weird.
Look, you can see my feet. Sorry.
Dear everyone, the fact that Paul finds that hysterical is the reason why I drink bleach at night.
Sorry. I think Black Ops 4 is out today.
That's on the agenda.
Oh, good. Because I have not even looked at it. I should probably install that.
You're already letting us down and we haven't even started. This is amazing.
I know.
1 second. Go to YouTube. Oh no. All right. Well, I guess we got 10 seconds. Any other thoughts over there, Paul, before?
No, I guess not.
Well, good. Is everyone who's listening or watching, is the audio okay, I hope? Nobody's complained, so I'm assuming that it is.
If it isn't, I am not capable of fixing it at this point.
No, you actually sound pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah. Watching the chat. All right, Richard said, all right, everybody says it's fine. So, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to First Ring Daily, and that is not illusion. Paul's head is actually that large.
Like Bill Gates at that Macworld appearance, you know? Except I'm laying in my bedroom.
And I find this hysterical for many reasons. But Paul, can you just explain to everyone why you're in this predicament?
Yeah, yesterday I reinstalled Windows on my computer, my main computer, my desktop computer. I was having weird performance issues. This type of thing where you drag a window around and it kind of stutters a little bit. I thought, whatever, a new version of Windows just came out. I'll do this from scratch. It'll be good. And it is good, except when we had our work meeting yesterday, my computer blue screened. And when it came back up, I don't have camera anymore down there, even though there are actually 2 cameras attached to that computer. And then Skype kept crashing, so I had to come upstairs and use a laptop for work, for the work call. And then I had Brad test this morning, and I didn't get the blue screen, but there's no camera, and it Skype kept crashing. So I'm
You're doing all right.
I do have other computers. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure this out.
Yeah, but you know what is one thing we did figure out, Paul?
Mm-hmm.
For those who have been paying attention at home, you would notice that there might have been a spam form issue. Yeah.
Slight spam issue.
Yeah, we didn't take the forms offline, but we hid them for about a week because for some reason people wanted to post just random phone numbers, and we tried almost, I think, everything we could. We finally got it figured out, and knock on wood, I think we finally blocked the not nice people. And so, yeah.
This was a professional hit job. I've never experienced anything like this. Last Saturday morning, actually, it was a week ago. Saturday morning, I guess. Right? Yeah. I woke up and I just kind of checked in on the computer before I went out for my walk. And looking at the front page of our site, I saw a couple of, the spam things over there in the forum, widget or whatever. So, this happens in the morning. You kind of see a couple of things and I can go in and fix them or whatever. And started looking and there were tens of them, dozens of them. I started, eventually it was pages of them. And, I texted you and Tim and I was like, guys, we're under attack. Like, this is serious. And at some point, I think I eliminated 10 or 11 pages of spam and it just kept coming. Brad eventually took over. There were probably, we don't even know, do we? But there were tens of thousands, I would think, of at least thousands of.
Yeah, at the peak, it was people or this whatever service or whatever was creating about 15 accounts per minute. Which is
and I think it was 45 new messages every 60 seconds kind of thing. We have multiple layers of protection against this stuff. Tim was coming back from his vacation that day. And so he did a lot of work on this from the airport, wherever he was en route to home. And then he spent the next 10 days on this. And it was astonishing how incapable the services that we pay for were of helping us. Like, they just, it was horrific.
Yeah, it was fun. They essentially what they figured out was, at least on our site, how to beat Google's reCAPTCHA. And then that kind of opened the floodgates. But I think we're up and good. And I think we got it filtered for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask Paul about how much Call of Duty he's played, but apparently he's letting us down.
Yeah, I actually worked this morning like a normal person, and
that's unusual.
Yeah, I'll get to, I just started thinking, I kind of vaguely had it in I know it's October, like I know it's earlier than usual. I sort of had it in my head, I should look at this today, and I was just kind of too, preoccupied with whatever I was working on, and just as I lay down up here and I kind of popped open the RSS stuff, and I saw the official announcement that it was available, and I was like, man, I can already tell what's going to happen, because I'm going to go downstairs after this is over to play this game, and it's going to require like a 65 gig download. So I'll get to it, I guess.
Just in time to leave for Ireland, probably.
Plus, yeah, exactly. I'm going to be leaving anyway, so.
Yep, and then this just was announced maybe 15 minutes ago. I haven't had a chance to read the full report, but Facebook came out and kind of clarified that it wasn't 50 million accounts that were compromised in that hack, whatever announced 2 weeks ago. It was 30 million, which kind of sounds better, right? That's 20 million less. Until you realize what the information they actually got and everything.
So
if you're impacted.
How do you know if you're impacted? Will they?
I believe
you?
Facebook was prompting people if they were part of that hack, and they got everything from your name, phone number, date of birth, religion, last 10 places you logged in. If you've ever touched the service with a stick and your account was compromised, they now know that.
So what they should do is pull a Microsoft and say, 30 million of 2 billion is 1/2 of 100%, whatever the thing. And when you look at it that way, it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Did you file it on the Feedback Hub? That's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
That's all that matters. But on a more interesting statistic, if you will, Apple, I don't think it was Apple, but somebody did the math and realized that iOS 12 was already on 50% of Apple mobile devices.
Yeah, this doesn't surprise me. This release is one that directly benefits everyone who uses an iPhone or an iPad. And it's especially good for people of older devices. The first time we've ever been able to say that. I think, Apple updates have always been deployed really quickly because they're free and they have that, that system where everyone gets the update. But this one I think is going to go quicker, especially than last year's, because everyone understands like the benefits are huge. It's like getting a new iPhone in your iPhone, Brad.
Moving on. Yeah. Well, it's funny that I brought this up. Actually, it was completely intentional because on my screen right now, Mr. Thurrott, I'm going to read this out loud. It says, "We've got an update for you. Windows is a service, and updates are a normal part of keeping it running securely. We need your help installing this one. Restart now, pick a time, or snooze."
Ugh.
I'm assuming this is 1809 being shoved down onto this machine.
Yeah, I wouldn't install that right in the middle of the show.
Why not? What could go wrong?
And based on my experience yesterday, everything.
Yeah, but this is just on the laptop, so it should be okay. But I'm actually curious if you have this issue, because this has been annoying me, and I tried to fix it today, and I'm not going to wipe my machine because I don't think that's going to fix it. I cannot, this is embarrassing, I cannot use Outlook.com. When I log in, I can log in just fine, authenticate, and if I'm using either the classic view or the beta, and I've tried this in Chrome and in Edge, it essentially like locks the browser up. I can't type. Like I'll start typing like it's fine, and then it's like somebody jams a stick in the wheel, and then the typing just stops, and I can't use it. Now it works perfectly fine on my phone, like using it as a service because it's streamed to or pushed to the Outlook app. Any third-party app, it works just fine. But I'm curious if anybody else out there has experienced this issue. I've turned off all extensions. At least I did in Edge because I figured, hey, if it's going to work somewhere, it's got to be Edge. And I can't figure out what is causing this.
I mean, as you were saying that, I mean, I was and am running Outlook.com right now. I'm using Chrome. It's fine. I mean, I use it every day on each of my computers.
I've never actually tried it on this one. I'll be curious to see if I had the same problem here. Logging in.
Yeah, I mean, it's, it's fine. I mean, I wasn't typing, I guess, but...
No, it seems to work fine here, so it's a little laggy, but nothing like upstairs. So I don't know what the issue is because there's no way it's the computer's underperform. I mean, it's an i9 10-core, 32 gigs of RAM machine. It's not the machine.
Maybe it's too fast, Brad. You ever think of that?
I need the turbo button or whatever it was on the old computers that actually it was called turbo, but really just slowed it down.
Turns it down to a Y series processor.
Let's not ruin the fun. Let's not ruin the fun. And then, Paul, you wrote up that the PC market is flatlined, but I think Lenovo had a good quarter. Is that right?
Yeah, every time some kind of PC market share thing happens, I go back and I look at what had happened before, right? So I've written articles in the past every quarter, every year, whatever it is. And it's interesting, what I found here, well, so I should say what you're alluding to is Lenovo, for the first time in several years, is the #1 PC maker in the world again, right? HP has held this spot for quite a while now. Oddly enough, in August, when both of those companies announced their earnings, they both made comments respective to their companies about their take on the PC industry. And Lenovo was like, our sales have gone gangbusters. This has been like a really surprising quarter for us. Like we outperformed the industry by a wide margin. HP was sounding doom and gloom. Remember, the CEO went on, I don't know if it was CNBC or one of those shows, and kind of made some crazy comments about how crappy PCs were and how they don't see like a big bump coming from Windows 10 at all. And, the things circling the drain. And I was like, why on earth would the guy who runs a company that makes PCs talk like this, And then you kind of see what happened. And like HP kind of reversed course. They've been going great for a long time. And they make great products. I mean, I'm not dumping on the quality at all, but I can't explain. I don't look at what Lenovo or HP did in the quarter and think, yeah, this makes sense because here's why. I really can't explain it. But Lenovo and HP in their own way had kind of given us a heads up that this might be happening. I didn't see it at the time, but it's kind of interesting retroactively to go back and look at that.
I do wonder if Windows 10 will end up hurting PC sales a little bit, only because it used to be that you got new hardware with a new OS, right? When Windows 7 shipped, you went and bought a new machine. When Windows 10 shipped, you went and bought a new machine. We're several years into Windows 10 now, and we're not going to get that next big, just like, here's the line in the sand. We're going to go to a new OS. And I wonder if that'll change any of their cycles.
I feel like the thing that's happened here is a lot of what sells Windows and new computers is these new capabilities, right? And for the Windows 8 especially, and then in the beginning kind of with Windows 10, it was all about these different form factors and convertibles and touch screens and pens and blah, blah, blah. And obviously we still kind of push that stuff, but we're so far into that being kind of the norm for computers. I just don't think it's a big upgrade push for anybody these days. Like,
Yeah.
if you already have a screen you can touch or whatever, there's not a lot exciting going on. And even if you don't, there kind of isn't, right? I mean, most people use them normally, keyboard, mouse, whatever. I think they've kind of run out of exciting ways to entice people to buy more computers. Like, it's just, we use them as tools. We get work done with them and we're done. And, you know, AR camera on the back, or, you know, all this goofy stuff that different PC makers have tried. I just don't think it's kind of taken off. And I don't think this Windows 10 upgrade boom or whatever is going to be as big as it was for some of the previous releases like XP or Windows 7. It's just, I think we might have seen the last great upgrade cycle, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's effectively, I know this isn't perfect, but it's kind of like going from a Surface Pro 4 to the Surface Pro 6 timeline, roughly. And if you have a Surface Pro 4, I don't know if there's a real big reason to buy a 6, as long as it's working fine.
Yeah. Same thing with like the iPhone. So if you bought an iPhone 10 last year, I mean, buying an iPhone 10 XS, a 10s, doesn't make a ton of sense, you know? If you're on an older iPhone, there you see, you can kind of see it. It's like, it's a pretty dramatic jump, and that's why that's kind of an exciting update for a lot of people. We don't really have that in the PC market anymore. I mean, you know, your i9 thing is, I'm sure, dramatically faster. It has whatever graphics, which I'm sure are dramatically faster. But, you know, at some point you're like, you know, what's the difference between 120 frames per second and 150 frames per second? It's like, you know, it's kind of a tough sell. Yeah,
no, it really, really is. And then last topic du jour, but I think it's kind of a big one here. So I got a tip yesterday from somebody who works at Microsoft and says, hey, Cortana just got reorged, and it's now being shoehorned into the Office org. It's leaving Harry Shrum's division, that AI thing, and now it's just, you know, it's gone full Clippy.
Which is like the Microsoft version of the Sopranos Woods in New Jersey thing with the Russian guys. Like, we're never going to see those people again.
It is curious.
Yeah, so I did a short blurb about that. I didn't realize you broke the story. I'm sorry. I kind of linked to Mary Jo, but
thanks for paying attention.
I don't pay attention to what you do. So no, I'm sorry. The thing here, so Cortana is kind of shifting, and it's not like the end user. Well, actually, I guess it would be an end user thing. It used to be part of Microsoft's AI and research unit, and that made sense for the brand, I think, at the time, by making it an experience in Windows, typically, or in Office, or whatever. Something like it actually does become a little bit like Clippy, doesn't it? It's really just a kind of a front end to Microsoft's backend services, whatever those things might be. I don't know. I'm curious about that. This is interesting. I mean, one of the goofy things about Cortana throughout the lifetime of Windows 10 is that it was never part of Windows 10. It's something that appears in Windows 10, but it's not the team. It's not the same team. And so, you know, the Windows 10 people might have had some ideas about things that might happen around Cortana and how it could make Windows better or whatever. And the Cortana guys have different ideas because they have different concerns, maybe. And, you know, it just never kind of gelled. And so, I don't know, maybe this is the right thing to do with Cortana.
I think it is. So the person told me that they believe that this should have happened about a year ago, if not even longer. They also hinted that they said, hey, don't get used to Cortana being a standalone thing anymore. And that might be changing, although everything's kind of up for interpretation at this point because it's got new leadership. And so.
You know what is a standalone thing? Alexa.
Why would you say that word?
Because I'm stupid. So sorry. And, you know, maybe this is Microsoft finally capitulating. I mean, this partnership that they have with Amazon has kind of improved or evolved in stages. I mean, here's a little freaky world, you know, possible thing for the future. I mean, I've always I never really wondered, but it's maybe notable that you can't configure a default assistant in Windows 10 like you can, say, on Android. Now that Amazon has brought their assistant to Windows. Maybe that kind of interface can happen, maybe in kind of a far-fetched science fiction-y future version of Windows. Even Amazon's could be the default.
We will find out. I guess this isn't something I expect overnight, but if you have any doubt that Microsoft is at least exploring these types of things, you can now buy an Xbox One bundled with an Echo Dot.
Right. Yeah, right. I wasn't really thinking about that as part of this evolution, but yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about it that Microsoft is saying Cortana's here, but it's neither here nor there.
I like, there isn't enough of this kind of partnership. I know for some people, especially in the Microsoft space, it's tough when Microsoft does this kind of thing, partnering instead of competing or whatever. But, I'd written about Google and Microsoft recently, and my desire, and I think a lot of people have the same desire, that they work together more than they work apart or work against each other. And that can take various forms, including getting Chrome into the store or getting Google's PWAs into the store, that kind of thing, which would benefit their combined users. I mean, it's a win-win, I think. But Amazon and Microsoft being based in the Seattle area is kind of an interesting synergy there that's not just geographic, but it's kind of a worldview thing, too. It's kind of an anti-Silicon Valley thing, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of sympathy for that view today, frankly. And, these are companies that could help each other. Microsoft does have deep resources with regards to AI and all the stuff that I just really don't feel Amazon does. And it's, I think we think of it a lot from what's being taken away from Microsoft. But what does Microsoft have to offer Amazon is something that needs to be considered as well.
Yeah, if Amazon didn't have that little thing called AWS, Microsoft and Amazon would be a real interesting partnership.
But you know what? There's still some interesting partnership possibilities there, because AWS is obviously a bunch of different capabilities, but these are services that could be fallbacks to each other. They could have shared customers. They could work together. I mean, this is the whole Satya Nadella thing. There's not going to be, there's no one's fighting for a future where they're the only cloud vendor. That's unrealistic. So you never know. That's all I'm saying. You never know.
Yeah. And so what's your schedule next week here? You're leaving for the Green Place on
tomorrow, and home on flying. I'll be gone all day Thursday. That's the day I fly. So Monday and Tuesday, Ireland is only, I believe, 5 hours ahead of here. So I could probably do the podcast Monday and Tuesday at least. And then the only question is going to be, actually probably Wednesday too. I guess we're doing Windows Weekly live from the show. The only question is going to be what time. Mary Jo and I are speaking or whatever, and obviously I have to work around that. But I will attempt to. I'm going to work next week, right? This is not a vacation per se. So, although I will be, drinking whiskey and visiting sites and whatnot, probably at the same time. But I'll be working too. So I will attempt to do the show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday if I can.
Gotcha. And because I'm not above self-promotion, somebody asked, Darkson34 said, Brad, is your ebook going to be available in the Windows Store? Microsoft actually makes that process a pain in the ass. This is unsurprising. And so I hope to get it in there someday, but right now it's just Amazon, and then you can get it on Thurrott, and you can also get it on LeanPub.
Sure.
I don't think Microsoft allows pre-orders of ebooks, which is a problem.
Interesting. Right.
I got to double check that, but it's not like the thing with Amazon and even LeanPub was you just registered and said, I want to do this thing, and they hold you can't even pre-buy on LeanPub. You just register interest, but it's very frictionless. And I can't say that about the Microsoft Store, at least not yet. So.
Yeah, that's too bad. I'm willing to offer my services if you'd like an Audible version of this book.
Wow. Wow. Everyone heard that this is live, recorded, and on the record. There's actually been quite a few requests for an Audible version, and so we will explore that. in a future offline conversation. And then Morgan asked, he said, Brad, any reason for not calling it Beneath the Surface? Multiple reasons. One, Beneath the Surface is taken by about 7 million authors. BeneathASurface.com is available, and so I bought it, and it kind of works and whatever. And I didn't want to have the SEO battle of Beneath the Surface fighting. So there you go. And Red Dragon says, "Oh, please let Paul read the book. Anybody else would be a travesty."
I'll do a British accent, so it sounds like one of those awesome classic audibles. You know?
And then about every 4 pages, we need to hear you just that glope of you pouring more alcohol in.
Yeah, just right. The actual clink of ice.
Sorry.
I can't remember what book it was. It might have been, some comedian. It was David Cross. This Is Why I Drink, which is pretty funny. Anyway, one of those books. The author reads his own book, and he's a comedian. And as he reads it, he kind of stops sometimes and says, he just starts talking. He actually goes off script, which I always thought was kind of fun. I don't think it would suit that book, but it was just kind of you could picture this going sideways pretty easily. Yeah,
but I definitely think that, well, you're going to have to read it to edit it. But I mean, there's definitely places where almost like a director's cut, except you weren't the director, would make sense, though.
No, I'm more like... Right. I'm just another reader, really.
Yeah, but I would call you more than a reader. Obviously, you were at just about all this stuff, and you know the story exceptionally well, too. So,
sure.
Good stuff. All right. Do you got anything else for today before we wrap it up, Paul?
I do not. I'm going to go try to figure out why I don't have cameras on my computer, I guess, but that shouldn't concern anybody. How about you?
No, I'm going to get this polished and edited, and then, I don't know. It's
actually, I do have. I got a Fitbit Charge 3. I think I'm going to write a first impressions article about that. It's kind of big compared to my other one. And I also got a Lenovo C930, which I might be bringing to Ireland. I'm going to put that together today and see if it makes sense to do that. But I'll probably have a first impressions article about that as well.
Well, the only thing I will say is fall has arrived. It's cold in my house, and now we play the game of how long can we go before the furnace turns on.
Call of Duty too. I got to get that going.
Your afternoon's wrecked.
I am a little frazzled, travel and whatnot.
All right, folks, so that wraps it up for today. Thanks for tuning in. You can always find out more at thurrott.com, or, we'll be back next week. Paul will be in Ireland, so it'll be an interesting week, and have yourselves a good one. Yep. Should I do this? Restart now? Might as well, I guess.
Yeah, what could go right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just whatever. All right. Well, enjoy your time in the land up. I was going to say the land down under, but that couldn't be further from the truth.
Right. It's just the next borough over.
Yeah, just you enjoy your tax haven time, I guess.
Right. I'll probably come home with some more whiskey.
Later.
Bye.